and make those changes as well. So these are kind of like down and dirty. What can you do right now that makes a big difference? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Excellent. And let me know in chat if you can see my screen. Let me know right away in chat if you can see my screen. Excellent. Thank you, Marissa. So you'll notice, and we've done it at Vengreso, the background image, right? You want to change your background image to speak to your buyers right now. They are freaking out, right? There's so much going on with furloughs and unemployment and, you know, how do I keep my employees? What do I do? And so now is a particularly poignant time for PEO. And so within your own organization, but also, you know, you might share this advice with your clients, you need to create background images that speak directly to the point of pain of the buyer or of the client. And so for us, you know, this is kind of a good time for us in that we naturally do virtual trainings anyway. So we're just letting people know, and I'm letting you know right now, your buyers are out there and they still need you. So that's kind of basically how we're addressing the disruption that's happening with COVID-19. Now you can be even more specific than that, right? You can create a background image that says something like, you know, are you concerned about your employees? You know, what do you do about furlough, or whatever the questions are that you're getting a lot of right now from your clients? Address that in the background image. Now, you want to add your logo and your branding and your colors, but really just using that background image to address what is scaring people right now, to address what's scaring your clients right now, and more importantly, how you can help them. If you're a one-person shop or a two-person shop and you're like, but I don't have a graphics department that can help me with this, one tool that I recommend is Canva. You can literally go to canva.com and type in LinkedIn banner, and they'll give you a whole bunch of different options, and then you can just customize it with your own content. But again, you want to make sure that you're addressing in that background image the point of pain of your buyers or of your audience and how you can help them. So the other thing to look at in that is your company page. So one of the things that we do at Vengreso all the time, not just now, but you'll also want to create a company page banner that does kind of the same thing. So as we wait for LinkedIn to load here, so what you'll notice is our company page banner, get out of there, there we go. Our company page banner, slightly different dimensions, but it matches what the employees' banners are. So whether you're a one-man shop, a four-person shop, or you've got thousands of employees, I highly recommend doing this because it's just top of mind. It's what people see. It's what they're going to be attracted to. And, you know, let's hope this passes by June or July or August or September, certainly by June enough that we can all meet at the PACE conference. But, and you can certainly change out your image after that. But I would, while we're in disruptive times, I would absolutely recommend changing your background image on your personal profiles and creating a couple different options that your employees, if you have employees, that they can upload or that your brokers can upload. Now, in order to do this on your company page, you have to be an administrator. So if you yourself can't do this on the call, then talk to your marketing department and say, hey, I heard this thing and we should do this. Now in chat, I'm going to give you two resources. The first one is an ebook that I'll talk about in just a second. The second one is actually the banner dimension. So if you do have a marketing department and you go to www.vengresobanner.com, it will take you to my SlideShare presentation, and from that you can just download it and it will give you the exact dimensions that you need. So whether you're doing this yourself, and if you're great with Photoshop, then just use this template and go for it. If you're graphically impaired like I am, then, you know, go ahead and use something like Canva, or you can also go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and they can help create that background image for you. Because again, this is where, you know, as people are scrolling through LinkedIn, as they're, you know, doing research online, as they're going to your profile because they need help right now, the first thing they're going to see is that background image. So that needs to be speaking to them, to their points of pain, and how you can help them. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you today. The second thing I wanted to share with you is this new featured section. So LinkedIn has, and not everyone has it, although most people should have it. Certainly in the US, most people should have it. You'll know you have it if you come to your LinkedIn profile and where it says add profile section, if it says featured, or if you've already added content to your profile, you'll see it right here. So either way, what this allows you to do is pull in either a LinkedIn post that you might have created, an article, which is more like a blog post that you put on LinkedIn that you might have created, certainly links to your own blog posts. Many of you and your marketing teams are probably already creating content that talks to this disruption that's going on. So you can absolutely add links to that content as well. And you can also add media. So if you've got photos, checklists, PDFs, presentations that you want to upload, you can do that by just clicking on the plus sign. And then what's nice about this new featured section, what LinkedIn did was they took the content that you, or the media that you had in the old about section, and they just made it bigger, but also you can move it around. So for me, I've got my international, you know, keynote speaker. Well, guess who's not going to be standing on any stages anytime soon, except for hopefully at PACE in June. So that probably I'm going to pull down and move down, you know, to second or third place. Whereas things that are important to people right now, like, you know, working from home, video conferencing tools, things like that, I'm going to move up top. So if you have content that is specific to what's happening right now, and if you have team members that, you know, who are also on LinkedIn, I would recommend adding that media and sending that media to them and saying, hey, can you please add this media to your featured section? You know, click on this link, or if it's already an update on LinkedIn, all they have to do is click on feature, feature article or feature post. I'll just show you that, so it shows you how easy it is. So if you've got a post that you've shared and you want to feature it on LinkedIn, you literally just find the post. Like, say I wanted to feature this article today, right, or this the advertisement for this training today. All I have to do is click on feature because I've already shared it on LinkedIn. So as I find something here that I think is relevant to what's going on right now with COVID, with you know, with working from home, with remote working, et cetera, all I have to do is click on feature this post, or feature, and it's going to pull that article right into, so you can see it's right here, it's going to move that article right into this section. So be thinking about what content you already have created that you can share here, because as you can see, you know, we've got this big visual element, which I've already talked about, and now you've got this big visual element too. And so it will speak to your buyers' point of pain and how you can help them. And one of the things we say at Vengreso is you want your LinkedIn profile to be a resource. It's not a resume. Right now, especially, no one cares, you know, about necessarily where you have worked in the past and where you went to school. They want to know how you can help them right now. So that is another thing that I wanted to add. And then, do we have time, Ryan, for one more tip?
Yes, please do.
Okay, all right. So another thing is, and it kind of aligns with everything I've been talking about right now, in as far as creating content and sharing with content with people that shows how you can help them. You want to natively create content on LinkedIn, and the way to do that is you just go into the in section and then you click on start a post. But what's cool is from this, I can add an image, I can shoot a video and upload that video. I can add a document. These are really popular right now. They're called carousel posts. It's really just uploading a PDF or a PowerPoint presentation. So maybe you've already created a presentation that you want to share, just the slides themselves. As long as it's okay with being public, because this will get a lot of visibility, you can just upload that document. And another thing, which I don't have yet because LinkedIn hates me, another thing that some of you will see, you can also create polls now. Not everybody, but it's coming. So if there is a poll where you can literally poll your audience and ask them what their points of pain are that you can then address in a future piece of content, I highly recommend doing that. And just to show you, I'll both show you a carousel, but also what I call the anatomy of a good post. So let me go find, there we are. All right. And this will look familiar to you because what I did was I actually took from, I took the link, the Vengreso banner link that gives you the background image sizes. I used the PowerPoint that I originally popped into SlideShare, and then I created a PowerPoint from it, and I uploaded that into LinkedIn. It just needs to be under 10 megabytes. Now what's interesting is the original, which is on SlideShare, which is the link that I just popped into the chat, this on SlideShare, which is LinkedIn bought it, it's just a way of sharing slides, only got 1,800 views. Now, since I posted this like a week ago, it's already gotten 6,700 views. So LinkedIn loves its new toys, and the ability to upload those documents or those PowerPoints or PDFs, LinkedIn is always going to give it more visibility. So if you can upload a video, a native video, not just a link to you know, YouTube, or if you can upload a PowerPoint, maybe you have a PowerPoint that you've already put together that you're already sharing with your clients about what they can do during these disruptive times. If you already have something, upload it. And then you want to do what I call the anatomy of a post, which is simply describe what's in the piece of media, the video, the PowerPoint, the PDF, the picture, the infographic, whatever it is. Describe what's in it so people know what to access. You can share links with them. So you want to put calls to action or drive them to links that will help drive traffic from LinkedIn to your website, to your blog, to whatever media you want to share with them. Tag anyone relevant. I don't know why she's untagged, but tag anyone relevant to that particular post. Maybe you're celebrating your clients right now and what they're doing. Find out what your clients are doing during this pandemic, during this disruption. Put together a little presentation and tag them in it, which means simply just type in the @ sign and start typing their name. Use any relevant hashtags. You can add emojis to kind of draw the human eye to the post, and that will get you a lot more visibility. And then, as I mentioned before, you can also then come in here either from the featured section or from here and click on feature to the top of the profile, and now this is going to pull that in. So it's really ways of using one piece of content in multiple sections of your LinkedIn profile, and it's just about addressing your audience right now and what they're going through. So those are my 3 little tips that I have for you. A lot more. I'll have a lot more for you at the conference, an hour's worth of content at the conference. fingers crossed, June 21st to 24th. But in the meantime, hopefully that was useful information for everybody.
Thank you, Viveka. And I think it was very good. I know I definitely have a few questions that are in my mind, but I see that we did have one hand that was
Yes.
raised there. Terry, I think you had your hand up there earlier. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Terry, and also lower your hand. So, Terry, go ahead with your question for Viveka.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just raising my hand when you told raise our hand.
and you hadn't lowered it yet. That's perfectly fine.
I'm so sorry.
I've lowered your hand, Terry, and I'm going to go ahead and mute you here. If you do have any questions, just a quick recap. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to pose here to Viveka, then the best way for you to do that is in the participants button down at the bottom of Zoom. You'll see 36 number there, or it should at least say participants. If you click that, it opens up a pane on the right-hand side of your screen. And there's a little button that says raise hand. And many of you practiced using that earlier today. So if you have a question, now is the time to go ahead and use that. So let's see. Do we have anybody here who's got a question that they want to ask to Viveka?
I do.
Okay,
Oh,
Kim.
Could you talk about, is it a good idea to have more than one LinkedIn page for your company?
What a great question. Yeah. So, earlier there was a question, what do we do if we're advanced? What if we do if we're a beginner on LinkedIn? So pretty much everything I showed you up until this point is you can do it whether you've been on LinkedIn forever or brand new to LinkedIn. But Kim asked a really good, and I'll just go ahead and share my screen again, really good question about company pages. So on LinkedIn, besides your personal profile, which I showed you, and besides the company page, which I showed you, oops, let's go back in there. You can either create multiple company pages or sub pages. So you can probably guess where this is going. So as an example, we've got our main company page, which is Vengreso. We also have some company pages that, to form Vengreso, we had 4 competitors. We all came together to create this new company. So we have their pages as well that we've added the Vengreso logo to. And then we have showcase pages too, which are like sub pages. So to answer your question, yes, you can certainly have multiple pages and manage multiple pages. And you can have multiple people even managing multiple pages on LinkedIn. To create a page, just so you all know, if you don't have a company page yet, you just go to the little work section here. And if you click on that, any second now, if you click on that, there we go, and scroll down to the very bottom, it'll say create a company page. So that's how you can create a page. Anyone can create a page. Just make sure if you are creating the page for your company that you have their permission to do so first. So with your company page, what you want to think about is how hard is it going to be to manage duplicate pages. So first of all, if I have like company A is our overarching company, and then maybe we have different divisions, right? Different locations or divisions, in which case I would do an overarching company page and then create the sub pages for those different divisions, which, by the way, look exactly the same as the company page now. They used to showcase pages or sub pages used to look a little bit different, but now they actually look the same. So if you have like an overarching company and then you've got different divisions, I would do a sub page. Now, maybe your company has very different offers. Like one is specifically HR and one is marketing. And they're completely different, and no one in the world would ever know that it was under the same umbrella, in which case yeah, it's perfectly okay to have 2 pages. Again, just know you have to manage those pages. You have to continue to feed those pages with content. You need to keep an eye on the activity on those pages and continue to engage with the people engaging with your page, your company page. So you can create as many, well, actually, that's not true. I think you can create up to 15 pages. You don't want to do that. But you can create as many as you want. I recommend only create as many as you know you can manage. And Kim, you manage a lot of social media, you manage a lot of community, so you know what a time expense it can be. Now the cool news is that there are some social sharing, and now we're more advanced, right? But there are some social sharing tools out there like Agora Pulse or Hootsuite that you can write one post and it can share to all your different socials, pages, sub pages, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. So that'll save you a little bit of time, but you do, as a moderator of your company page, need to keep an eye on that activity. And it's it's a full-time job for our social media person. So that's what I would recommend. The last thing you want to do, though, is to create 2 personal profiles. Sometimes people will create a personal profile, so you can see this is a company page, just a banner, a logo, the analytics, the content that you can share, and hashtags and a bunch of other stuff, compared to a personal profile, which is yours, right? The company is the company, the personal profile is yours. Same background image, slightly different dimensions, same background image, but instead of a logo, it's me. Instead of, the headline on the company page, I've got my professional headline, which I'll talk a lot more about that in my live training. And what you want to do with that, as well as other aspects of your profile. But the last thing you want to do is create a personal profile as a company page, for 2 reasons. It goes against LinkedIn's end user agreement, and they find you did that, they're going to delete you. And it's also very confusing to people when they do a search on your company and they sort, and they, now there's this personal profile, but it's a company page, but I'm a connection, not a follower. It's very confusing. So the main reason you don't want to create a personal profile as a company page, i.e. logo instead of picture, more company focused content instead of you as an individual within LinkedIn with a personal brand, it's against their end user agreement, and they can shut down your profile, which they'll do. As soon as someone reports you, they'll shut down that profile. So the last thing you want to do is spend all that time building connections instead of followers and then lose it all. Good question. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
I think it's a great
answer.
Yes, absolutely. I think the takeaway there is to do what you can actually manage and what you will see through.
Yes.
I know there's another question that I think probably is on the minds of some here. And folks, again, I know many of you called in through your phone and you are muted. But if you're on the app, you can chat in or you can raise your hand. And in fact, I'm going to hold on my thought because John has just raised his. So.
Okay.
John, you should be unmuted now. And why don't you go ahead and ask your question of Viveka.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. Hi, Viveka.
Hey.
Hello, everybody else. So to Ryan's point about what you can actively manage and keep track of. So our company on the sales and marketing side, it is a team of 2.
Yeah.
So time and resources are limited. And so, for a company that is just starting to get into digital advertising and put, try to make a mark within social media, specifically LinkedIn, what are the core fundamentals that you would recommend, knowing that time is limited? What are those fundamental things that might be a good place to start?
Perfect. Yeah. So one thing, because there's 2 now, but eventually there might be 4, 6, 8, 10, 40, right? So when you're creating a profile, a personal brand for yourself, think about how can I templatize this? Because, now my colleague can use, the template. And as we bring new people into the company, they can use the template too. So things as simple as create a couple different background images. And then you can choose one and your colleague can choose one. Create a couple different professional headlines, which again, I'll talk about this more in the training, but the basic formula is who do you help and how do you help them? So you create 5 to 10 different options, which you can choose one, your colleague could choose another. As new people come in, they can choose it. Similarly, the summary or the about section, you create a couple different versions of that and areas where they can customize it. So this is the summary section here. So you would create a couple different versions of that you could then use. And so it's a little bit work intensive at the beginning, but it'll pay off in the long run. Similarly, pull some images, share some links that you're going to use in your feature that your colleague and eventually other people can use. So, and then the same thing for your experience section. You want to create a couple, actually the experience section, you can get lazy at least right now and just use the about us from your website. So that's one thing that I would do immediately, even if there's only 2 of you, is think larger and create that brand. Because if you even have 4 people and they all have this great branding, then the company's going to look a lot bigger than it is. And that's going to lend a lot of credibility. So that's one thing. The other thing is, of course, you do want to create your company page. And here's a little ninja trick. You want to consider your company page to be basically a content hub. So what you'll do is you'll create either native content once a week. I mean, I would love to see it daily, but let's be honest. So once a week, you might create content on your company page. And then what you'll do is you'll come to the content that you shared. I'm in edit mode, but if I wasn't in edit, oh no, I guess I can still do that. You would copy the link to the post and then share that with, right now, your one colleague and say, hey, go into the company page, click on this link and share it with your network. Because that will then take the content you've already created and they'll move it into their network, because you might only have 40, 100, 1,000 followers of your company page, but between the 2 of you, right, you might have 40 or 50,000 people in your networks. And so when when you and your colleague both go into the company page and then just click on the share button, and well, I don't have it because I'm actually, again, in edit mode, but there will be a share button here and you click on share and it goes out into your audience and your colleague's audience. Now you've got greater visibility and the follow button will come along with it. And so you might even then get more followers to your company page. So it's a way to do, one activity, but get a fair amount of visibility from it.
So that's, yeah. So, okay. So if I'm understanding you right, that's something that I've struggled with is when do I post from my company page versus my personal page? And so what you're saying is when I'm pushing stuff out, start at the company page and then use that as the way to get additional followers and basically reshare the post that the company page makes, even though it's me.
Yes.
Doing it twice. Okay.
Exactly. And that's fine. And one of the things you'll notice, and I mean, we've got 20, I don't even know how many, 24, 27 employees now. But at a time there, when we first started Vengreso, there was 4 of us. And so, now the rest of the founders and our employees, we all kind of post natively. But when we first started, using that LinkedIn company page as a content hub, at least gave, us something to do. It gave us a place to start until, you get the buy-in from, as you get new employees or contractors or whatever, and you get their buy-in and how important social selling is, and they can start creating their own content. But this way, you've got content, that they can share it, that they're sharing the right type of content. And right now it's just you and a colleague, I get that. But this also scales pretty well as well.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for your question, John. And I know we're coming up on time here with you, Viveka, and we obviously want more. How do we transition from this limited time to really experiencing this in a deeper way?
Go here. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm going to be talking to you all about for at least an hour during the PACE conference. I'm going to have a whole bunch of resources for folks. So certainly if you can make the PACE conference, I would love to see you all then. I might give you an elbow bump. I might not be shaking hands or giving hugs, but I would definitely love to see you from 6 feet away there. The other thing is, if in the meantime, if you want some help, you can always just go to our website, which is vengreso.com. Like I said, I've got 3 other partners. So we have 2 podcasts that you can listen to, one's all about sales, one's all about marketing or marketing for sales. And then of course, we've also got a blog. So, and then we have a ton of resources. So if you want to continue to learn about social selling and selling with LinkedIn, by all means, just check us out. And if you want to talk to me directly, if you go to the About section, you'll see my name in there, and you can book some time with me if you've got any questions about selling with LinkedIn. But hopefully, we're going to see you all here at the conference.
Yes, thank you for that. And I'll just go ahead and back you up, because there are a number of different. LinkedIn is this kind of mystical environment where most people would agree, I have no idea what I'm doing there. It feels easier to hire out to do a website, and it feels easier to hire out to do maybe blog content, interviewing some experts from time to time. What can be very challenging is managing the personal branding and managing how the company presents itself to the most active B2B marketplace on the planet. And so it's intimidating. And so we either get it really right or we get it really wrong. And I think what you've done is you've taken people from if you're totally a beginner, you're a noob, or you're really an expert, you guys are always ahead of the curve, just about no matter where anybody's entering in. So if it's a whole sales force of 50 reps that need to all become legitimized, get training, or it's 3 or 4 of you in an online course would be enough. There's some kind of recipe there. And I think you address the practical elephant in the room of not screwing up LinkedIn and, getting a bad name or being labeled a spammer or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Viveka. I'm going to go ahead and transition us now to our next section. And Kim is joining us today from Layton, Utah. And I'm going to go ahead and spotlight your video, Kim, and welcome to this environment. And also, for those of you who have been around a while, you'll know Kim because she's been in the space. I'll let her introduce herself and her background, but she's now the communications director here at PACE, and Kim will be leading off on the second half of our discussion today. So Kim, go ahead and take it away.
I'm really glad to be here today. And Viveka, I learned so much today. I thought I knew a lot about LinkedIn, but I learned a lot today.
Awesome.
On how to make it more effective. And I was really glad to hear your information about multiple pages, because we have multiple pages on PACE. And as most of you know, I am the new communications director. So the posts that you're seeing on PACE, Ryan creates a lot of the content and I do the distribution. But we have 3 PACE pages, that's hard to say, pages for PACE on LinkedIn. One is a company page, and then we have a couple of places where you can go to discuss things with each other. And to me, PACE is all about helping each other and giving each other ideas and telling each other what worked for me, or I have a problem, can you help me? So we want to be able to get everybody doing that all year long. And we're going to be doing it on the LinkedIn page. There's one that says PACE, that's called PACE Open Forum. And there's one that says members only. So if you're a member of PACE, that is restricted to members only. The open forum, anybody can see what we're discussing there, but get in the habit of talking to each other on the PACE discussion pages. One of them's open forum, the other one is members only, and they both start with PACE. We also want to talk to each other at the conference. That is where we're used to talking to each other, but we want to do that all year long. So we're doing it here in these mini mastermind sessions to give you a little taste of what we're going to do at the conference. we are committed to making the conference work. I know people are a little nervous about, are we going to be able to put a bunch of people in a room? But I think you can see we're making progress as a nation towards that. And unless something, you know, big and scary happens, we are committed to making it work. We're excited to have everybody be there. We've had very few drop out who registered already, and people are still registering. So it really looks like it's going to be a successful event, and we have never needed each other more than right now, in my opinion. We're in a crazy new place. We need each other. We need to find out what's working for people. I'm going to turn it over to you to raise your hands and ask questions of each other, but let me give you a few little ideas of, I've been talking to PEOs across the nation the last few weeks. One guy hit, one of his biggest problems was getting toilet paper. And I know that's cliche, but that was a problem for him. Some of you are struggling with your banks and what they are requiring for to get these stimulus packages and get the money. The banks are being ridiculous, some of them. So if anybody has suggestions about how to get around that, some in the hospitality industry have really suffered, but they're bringing clients on in other industries. So if you want to ask questions or give suggestions about that, that would be awesome. So raise your hand if you have something that you want to talk about specifically, or you can give us an anecdote that you think would be interesting, or a solution.
And you can also use the chat too if participant, if the raising the hand is, evading you at this time. If you don't see it listed for you, you can also post your question in chat, and myself and Kim can both see that. So, but let's share and learn together here, folks.
Right. So do it on the participant. That's where if you click on participant, you'll get the little panel come up to raise your hand.
That's right. And Lori just posted in the chat here.
Okay.
Solution for toilet paper.
Okay. Laurie is saying the solution for toilet paper, I can't believe we're talking about this, but office supply companies. The demand is really way down there, and that was a good place. I've had people tell me that they've gone online and paid exorbitant amounts on like Amazon, for example. But office supply companies, that's actually a really good. Another place, somebody told me that they went to a rural store out in the middle of nowhere, and it had all kinds of toilet paper and cleaning supplies, and it was a problem more in the urban area. What about unemployment? Oh, John's got his hands raised, so I'll defer to him, but we'll talk about unemployment in a minute.
Sorry, folks.
Go ahead, John.
I hijacked the meeting for sales and marketing if we can. Show of hands of who might be interested in talking a little bit about that.
More about sales and marketing?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about sales and marketing during the COVID. Who are the people, who are your best buyers now? What's the buyer persona?
Yeah, what I'm curious about that, as well as what kind of messaging are folks using in outbound that they have seen as being successful? Because it's been pretty hit or miss for me personally. Got a couple of deals, but it's few and far between. So I'm just curious to see, hear from other experts what's working out there for them.
Anybody have an answer for that? I have talked to PEOs, John, who were able to bring on new business during this time, and they were smaller companies that needed help at applying for the stimulus money. They felt overwhelmed. They weren't sure where to go, even though the government seemed to think they were doing a good job of telling us how to do it. They wanted somebody else to do it.
I do see, that's an interesting one. And to your question, John, I also see here, Kim, it looks like Lee raised his hand in response to John. Would you like me to
Yes.
unmute Lee? Hey, Lee, welcome.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Great to hear your voice. Doing very well.
Just to give John a little response, we serve almost 20 PEOs and about 1,000 people who are producing business in the PEO space. And the guys that we see the most throughput from right now, and those guys have hardly led up through the whole thing, are the guys who have extremely strong and wide network connections, meaning MGAs and agents and referral sources. Those guys seem to be doing very well, but it seems to me that through our platform that they are reaching out to those producer partners more so than they are the end user partners.
Okay.
Does that help answer your question, John?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and Laurie has her hand up.
I think Brian may have had his up there.
Oh, yep, you're right. You're right.
Let me get to Brian. Brian, did you have a question or a comment? Trying to unmute you there, Brian.
We're clicking at the
There you
same
go.
time.
No, I had my hand up when you said show of hands who wanted to talk more sales related
Good.
solutions.
Well,
I've
the
got
first
your hand
question
down.
was about toilet paper, so that's what we.
Well, I do have an office supply company on the East Coast I can refer people to, but
I guess Lori then. Lori, you're not connected through audio that we can see, but your hand is up. It looks like you've got video only. Have you called in? Just send me a message through the private message, and I can try to connect you. We'll go to Rick next. Rick, you're muted actually now. And Lori, are you there as well?
All right. Here, so what I've happened to bring on so far is what was mentioned earlier is based on my referral program, using a lot of the brokers that I use. So those were already going to come on, and those are on. Now, what I'm hitting, and I'm in the Houston area, the greater Houston area, is everybody that's not affected. And what I did was I just, for the first few days of this whole mess, is drove around and looked at businesses that didn't look like they were being affected at all, and started targeting those. And those being auto mechanics, but not just auto mechanics, franchises that were multiple. So it's not the little oil change, but it's the big mechanical places. They're still in business. And then I went to construction firms, and a lot of those construction firms, believe it or not, they're still out there. They've been out there since day one. There are multiple companies out there that are building everywhere. So I'll hit the subcontractors, the people that do the barricades, or people that do the cement, or the people that do that. So what I guess what I'm saying is I've managed to tag on the companies that are still in business that are affected but not really affected. Everybody else stayed home, but these guys are out in the streets.
So with those, to follow up for you, I appreciate that answer. With those, since you're seeing that they're not really affected by COVID, is your messaging the same as it was before COVID, or have you crafted your message differently, even though that those businesses don't seem to have seen really much of an effect?
I went in asking those questions to see if it was going to be a COVID approach, or if it's. I went into one accessories for trucks, and it was like nothing. No masks, no gloves, no 6 feet, and just handled business like was. He says, I've got more business now than I've ever had. I said, well, let's sit down and talk about it. But then there was other business that you walked in with a mask, and it was a COVID. How are you managing? And today it's now that you're bringing people back, how are you doing that? How can we help you with that?
Perfect. Thanks.
Lori, I think you're ready. Kim, I think Lori's got her audio and video now connected.
Oh, good.
Oh, I need that.
Lauren?
There we go. So, John, on our sales side, I started out doing very much like, hey, in these uncertain times, we want to help. And people just got so sick of it within the first 2 weeks, because every store you ever shopped at, every summer camp you ever said your kid to, every shampoo you ever bought online, you were like, for the love of God, yes, you're here to help me. Can I just buy the damn shampoo? So I just found that people got COVID overload. So I basically stopped and I just quickly hit the elephant in the room. Like, hey, so glad you answered the phone. Great to see you're still in business. Let's talk. And took it from there. And they appreciated that I hit on it and then moved on and got to the point. The two areas where I have found the most success was hitting up our current clients. We work 7 days a week to get those monthly payroll reports. And I'm a brand new salesperson. So I was calling up like, hi, you're a current client. I've never met you. I have absolutely no idea how this company works, but I have 500 people behind me who can get you the answers. And then I got the answers, learned the issues, and when I would call them back, they were incredibly appreciative. And then the simplest line in the world, you know, hey, Ryan, I'm so glad I was able to help you, and thanks, I learned along the way. Who else do you know that could benefit from our services? Who else do you think is struggling with this that we could help out? And then kind of saying, even if we never do business with them, the rising tide lifts all boats. So even if they don't do business with us, maybe one of their clients or their clients will, and ultimately it all comes back to us. And as a rep with 2 months experience, I got 4 referrals out of 15 clients. So it didn't suck. My other thing that's completely unrelated to that is to go to your database of people that were over 50 employees and see who has furloughed people, and they're now under 50, so they're now chucked into the community rated. So maybe they didn't care so much about PEO because they had some buying power and they were able to come up with the plan designs they want and have some ability to have control over their future there. Now they're 37 employees, they're 44 employees, and they're like, fuck. They're at community rating and they need a PEO more than ever. That's my 12 cents.
Great, yeah. Everybody's giving a thumbs up. That's really good to hear that real life experience. Anybody else? Okay. We're going to do this little question and answer thing with each other after each of these masterminds. They can go short, they can go long. Be thinking about things that, as you go through your week, that you want to learn more about and get some input from everybody else. Ryan, it looks like there are no more questions. Mm-hmm. I just want to put one last plug in for the conference. It is going to be fabulous. Our speaker lineup is fabulous, and Ryan can tell you more about that.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. That is, Ray made a strategic decision to move us out of the range of the danger zone as it occurred. The culture of PACE has always been, as I've been exposed to it, a matter of friends before competitors. It's always been built, no matter what the season is, good times and bad, to learn from one another, collaborate, and speak. So while we have the draw of speakers, and I'm excited to be on the lineup, what really is the essence is what happens in between those sessions, the interactions, the engagement, the discussions, the fun. Who's looking forward to fun? If you've ever been to one of the auctions, I mean, it's like, it's a riotous time. They have to call in people just to get us out of there. And I'm joking about that, but the point is that it will be a good, pleasant, fun time, but it will be sober-minded to what's really going on in the world today. So you're not going to come for fluffy talks about 10 best practices that worked in January. You're coming for people that have surgical precision that are going to look at the world as it is today. And next week, we'll be having Scott Klosowski on for the Mastermind session, and he'll be talking about the disrupted workforce. That's really relevant in May. In June, he's going to be talking about what will never be the same again. And so the new normal, as it's coined, or this isn't the new normal, we're going to go back. Whatever the discussion is there, we can trust that the leaders that come and present are going to have a word that's relevant to that time so that we can all rebound and recover together. So if you have not registered, if you only registered for today's mastermind, then you want to go back to the registration page and go ahead and select that you want to participate in the other meetings coming up. There are 3 more, and you can see who's listed for those. We may be adding a couple more to this lineup as well. And the survey will go out so that you can post the questions or areas that you'd like to be discussed on this time, even in advance. So that kind of concludes our time. I just want to go ahead and mention again that you can go to vengreso.com. You can also go to the PACE website and listen to a extended interview between Viveka and myself for the HRO Growth Show podcast. I think we covered everything here today. I'm so glad that everybody came. We got through Zoom. We were able to gather together, nearly 50 of us on this call today. So well done, everybody. We are all modernizing one step at a time together, and we're moving forward. So if you have any questions or follow-up, we will go ahead and try to address those in email later on. Until then, you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you here next time, same time next week. Bye for now.